I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but healing isn't a straight line. Hi, I'm Jenny. I overcame years of debilitating chronic illness, and now I coach women back to chronic wellness. So, chronic illness and chronic pain are lonely places. It's incredibly isolating, and frankly, it can be pretty traumatic, which is why setbacks can feel like the end of the world, or that you failed, or that it's all hopeless. On my road to recovery, I've had so many setbacks, you guys, little ones and huge ones. And I want to tell you about the last huge one I had. So I had been in what I'll call my, like active healing crisis for about 2 years already. I was mostly still bedridden, but I was able to work remotely. But I definitely wasn't going out yet. Like I wasn't running errands, I wasn't socializing. And yet I was doing significantly better than I had been. I'd had my first big breakthrough when I found the medical medium. I've mentioned this in other videos. So I was very conscious that I was progressing, but it was very slow and it all felt very fragile. Like I was very fragile. And then the other shoe dropped again. Something happened at work that was so upsetting to me, something I just couldn't process properly. I didn't have the tools yet, and my body freaked out. And I ended up with, like, let's say, if not a new health issue, like a new take on an old health issue. And this one was completely debilitating again. And it lasted for 6 straight months. But of course, when it was happening, I didn't know if it would ever end. And I was devastated and panicked all over again. Like I thought I was doing everything right. I was trying so hard to get well. And, now I was nearly as bad off as when it all started. So not only was I in chronic pain, but I was in a state of, just deep depression and despair. But that's when breakthrough number two happened. Her name is Nicole Sachs, and she has a method of helping to regulate the nervous system very slowly. And my symptoms went away like almost immediately. So ever since doing her work, which I will definitely be doing videos about at some point, I've never had as huge of a setback since, and it's been like 3 years. But there's something really important that I want to point out about this, right? Which is that if I hadn't had that last huge setback, I never would have found her work, which has accelerated my healing process like tenfold, 100-fold. Meaning, I went from here to here to here to here. And that's actually how we heal, right? Even if it doesn't feel like we're improving in the moment. So please keep the faith. And if you can't, you can borrow some of mine. And if you or someone you know needs help navigating chronic illness, my information is in my bio.